Hi, this is Lauren from Daisy Cottage Designs, and today I'm here with a tutorial on the double crochet stitch. The double crochet stitch is a stitch that I use a lot because it has good height and it works up really quickly and it has a great rhythm to it. Today I am using an I9 or a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. I will put a link to the hook I'm using and this yarn that I'm using in the description below. Don't get caught up though on the yarn or the hook that you're using. You can learn how to make this stitch with any hook or any yarn. Just make sure that your hook and your yarn are appropriate for each other. You don't want to use a super tiny hook with a really chunky yarn or something like that. But just use what you have to learn how to make this stitch, okay? So grab your I9 crochet hook and some yarn and I'll show you how to make this stitch. I'm using Premier's Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted in this shade Soft Peach, but any yarn will do. And I have chained 11. So go ahead and do that and then come back and I will show you how to make a double crochet stitch. All right, so the first thing you're going to do once you make your chain of 11 is you are going to find the third chain. Now, the loop around your hook doesn't count, so you'll count from there. This is the first chain from the hook, this is the second chain from the hook, and this is the third chain from the hook. So we're gonna work our first double crochet into the third chain from the hook. This is what the front of your stitches looks like. You can see you have little V's going down. And this is what the back of your chain should look like. You can see I have these bumps on the back. That is where I like to insert my hook because that will put this, my neat V's, on the bottom of my work. And this looks like the edge will look of this looks like the top edge will look, so I like that. All right, so I'm going to yarn over, which is just looping my yarn over my hook. And then I'm going to insert my hook under the back bump of that third chain. And then I'm going to do the same thing and put the yarn over my hook. And I'm going to pull the yarn through just that chain stitch. Okay, so let me show you that again. All right, so I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook, which is called yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook into the third chain from the hook. I'm going to put my yarn over my hook again, and I'm going to pull it through just that first chain, the chain. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through just these first 2 loops. So yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Now to finish the stitch, I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops that are on my hook. And then I've made my first double crochet. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert my hook under the back bump of the next chain. So I've done that. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the chain, which is called pulling up a loop. I'm going to yarn over. There's 3 loops on my hook. I'm just going to pull through the first 2. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So I've got my second double crochet. Let's do another one. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook into the next chain and pull it through just the chain. That's called pulling up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 stitches. And I'm going to yarn over. I said stitches, I meant loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the 2 loops that were on my hook. All right, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the next chain, pull through the chain, which is called pulling up a loop. There are 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through those first 2 loops on my hook. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops on my hook. All right, so now let's go into this next one. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the chain, pull up a loop, which is just pulling through the chain. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. So I'm going to finish the last couple stitches a little more quickly. And then I'm going to show you how to turn and work back the other way. Well, if I can get my hook through. All right, so this is what your row should look like. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets, and then you have this chain 2 at the end, because remember we worked into the third chain. So now what a lot of people would do, and I will show you just so you can decide which way you like to do it. A lot of people would chain 2 or 3 and turn their work, and then they would completely skip this first stitch. So here are your chains, and this right here is the first stitch. They would let this chain 2 count as their stitch, and then they would work their first double crochet into the stitch after that. So let me show you what that looks like. I just think it looks a little bit, there's a space and it doesn't look as neat to me. So let me show you how I like to do it. So this is, let's just pretend I've just made that last double crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and use that chain to turn my work. But I'm not going to skip this first stitch. I'm just going to make a double crochet stitch right into that first stitch. So that's a yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull through the stitch, which is pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now, you can see that my stitches, the top of the stitch has a V right here. That's the V. You're going to insert your hook under both of those loops that make up the V. All right, so you don't want to go under and just come out of one of those loops or go under just the back one. There are times when you do that, but when you're working on normal double crochet, you want to insert your hook under both loops, okay? So let's make another one. Yarn over, insert your hook under both loops of the stitch and pull up a loop, which is just pulling through the stitch. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. Yarn over, yes, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop. There are 3 loops on our hook. We'll yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. So go ahead and finish out that row. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and do that. And then once you finish the next few stitches, come back and I'll show you what to do at the very end of this row. Okay. Okay, so I have come to the end of the row, and I have my chain 1 over here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches. But we want to have 10 because we started with a chain of 11, so that will give us 10 stitches at the end of the row. Now, you are going to work just on this second row into the top of the turning chain. So this is our first real double crochet, and this is a chain 2 at the end of the row. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to insert your hook into the turning chain and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So let me show you that again. So at the end of the row, you're going to have a chain 2, because remember we started in the third chain. We made this double crochet in the third chain. So you are going to work, this is the one chain, this is the one chain. This is the first chain, and this is the second chain. So you're going to work into this chain. You're going to yarn over and insert your hook. You can insert your hook in different ways. I just try to find 2 loops of the chain to work into. I pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on my hook. Pull through 2 loops. Pull through the last 2 loops. Now I'm just going to chain 1 and turn my work. Now when I get to the end of this row, there's a little black speck in my yarn. When I get to the end of this row and all the subsequent rows, I will not have to work into any more chain stitches. I will just work into the last real stitch at the end of the row, because our chain 1 on these rows does not count as a double crochet. All right, so we're gonna double crochet in the first stitch, and then we're gonna double crochet in each stitch across. All right, I'm going to keep going to the end of the row, and I will show you how to work the end of every row except for that second row. I'm really loving the color of this yarn. Okay, so I have 1 stitch left. So I'm just gonna work a double crochet into that last stitch. And I don't have to work into the chain 1 because I have my 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So at the end of each row, you're going to have 1 fewer stitch than the chains that you started with. So let me explain that. So if you started with 10 stitches, 10 chains, you would have 9 double crochets. If you started with 11 chains, you would have 10 double crochets. If you started with 100 chains, you would have 99 double crochets, okay? So let's do one more row. So you'll chain 1 and turn your work. Don't skip this first stitch. You're going to work a double crochet into the very first stitch. And then you're going to work a double crochet into each remaining stitch. And by now, I bet you're starting to get into a nice rhythm. Yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And you just will keep doing that until you get to the end of the row. And you'll chain 1 and turn, and you'll just keep working back and forth just like that. And it's just a great stitch to know because so many patterns are going to use the double crochet stitch or some variation of it. All right, so let me turn this around and show you what we've got. So this is my sample swatch, and these are my double crochets. And yeah, so I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can send me an email or you can reply by leaving a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you and answer any questions you have. Have a great day and happy crocheting.